Hey everyone. So this video is going to be entitled Why Am I So Passionate Part 2. So one of my other passions are concerning animals. So it all started about 9 years ago when I was getting back on the wagon from a relapse. And I read somewhere that animals help with depression. So I got cats because the building I was living in at the time didn't allow dogs. So I got these cats from this lady from out of the paper, the classified. She gave away free cats. And honestly, I wanted to see what the catch was why I called. Just being nosy, actually. And she explained how her neighborhood has lots of cats and that she's a therapist and she domesticates them. That was like her ministry. She domesticates them and just gives them away to people she believed would take care of them. And my two cats were a package deal that was mother and daughter. So that's how I got my two cats. And so I'm the type of person, when I get into something, I get in it. I remember going to the library, coming home with an armful of books about cats, and of course on social media, I became almost, it's not friends, but I started liking all the animal advocate pages like um, Humane Society, ASPCA, Mercy for Animals, Siska, all those types of pages. And on one of those pages, I ran across a video of someone going undercover as a farmhand. And they showed how animals are mistreated on farms. And it was pretty devastating. And then, of course, further I learned that's why most people become vegans is because it's a protest against the mistreatment of farm animals. And I went vegan for about 2 years, actually. Well, no, I was a vegetarian. So if you decide you ever want to go vegan, um, it's not recommended to just go cold turkey. Um, you start as a vegetarian, and then you start taking out like dairy and sugar and everything else one at a time. Even if you do it a year at a time, at your own pace. And I had started I had been a vegetarian for 2 years, and I started taking out dairy. There are a million forms of dairy, but anyway, I started taking out cheese. It's a million forms of cheese, and I had the nerve to get a job at a deli, and for the first time they started making hot wings. So that was the end of that. But I'm pretty sure that's why most people become vegans. I say about 75% of vegans are because they are protesting farmers because of the treatment of farm animals. Excuse me. And if you ever come across one of those videos, if you really like meat, don't watch it. But I have, just like with anything else, I have a different solution that I want to promote as far as helping the animals and still being able to eat meat. But I first want to give some background of where factory farms come from. Factory farms started way back in 1926 because as the population continued to increase, food production wasn't happening fast enough, which means in order to feed everyone, food production needed to happen faster. So they started factory farms. You know, just like working at a factory, building a car part, instead there's animals there. You can imagine that. But started in the Industrial Revolution, and people were competing for profits, and it's pretty much spiraled out of control now. But so yeah, I started being a vegetarian, you know, for a diet, and then, you know, because of my animals, and I have some stuff written here, but I already said most of it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you my solution. There are smaller farms called free range farms, and they treat their animals more humane, more kinder. They're not abusive at all. They let them. It's called free range because they let them be free the way God intended. You know, they're not stacked right on each other's, not able to move in this barn, you know, constantly having milk pumped out of them. You know, factory farms have animals just right on each other in cages so they can have as many chickens or cows or whatever in the barn. We would probably be devastated if those barns were like made of glass for us to see. But they're in these barns in the dark. They don't even have like a ceiling light or nothing for light. They actually have to sit on their poop, and they're just there and they just can't move. It's very awful, and it makes me eat meat less. Now, I'm not a vegetarian or vegan, but I do eat meat less, and it's my goal to promote free range farms. They're smaller, and the food from these farms cost a little more because it's cheaper to have a factory farm. You know, it costs a little more to treat the animals humanely, but I think it's worth it. So I want to encourage people to shop at free range farms. And you go to the grocery store, it'll say on the package free range. And that's how I buy my eggs. That's how I buy my meat. I'm trying to think if that's how I buy my milk, but I don't remember seeing free range milk. And I honestly, coffee creamer is not free ranged. And I eat a less cheese than I used to. But they do have free range cheese, but that's harder to find. You have to go to like a specialty grocery store like Whole Foods. And what's the one that I go to? I forgot the name of it. I haven't been there in a while, but it's doable. They have the stores. They have it. They have it in Kroger's and Myers. Myers have a lot of that kind of thing, free range foods. But I rather encourage that. I think it's much more realistic to eat free range versus saying don't eat meat and dairy. People, meat and dairy taste good. And, it's just unrealistic to me to say that. So I want to encourage that. And I had a whole article here that I'm not going to read, but I did want to read the last sentence. And the last sentence is, food produced more humanely in this way can be safer for humans, better for the environment, and kinder to animals. And of course, I wanted to say that animals are God's creations. He created animals before he created us. Do I have a scripture? Well, I have like a paraphrase. It says, everything that God created, he created was good. Good things shouldn't be mistreated. And I understand it's okay to use animals for food and clothing. That's even more so a reason to treat them well while they are alive. There's no reason for any of God's creatures to be abused or mistreated. Period. I don't believe God approves. So animals are God's creatures. And when he created everything he created, he said was good. And good things shouldn't be mistreated. They should be treated humanely. They should find a way, with all this technology and smart people around, they can find a way to treat animals better. They have the money. It can be done. I think greed has a lot to do with it. But again, I just want to encourage you to check out some free range food. I mean, it don't taste any different, but I feel better knowing that the animals were treated better when I purchase food from free range farms. And I think God approves of that. He doesn't want any of his creatures to be mistreated. Not just humans, but animals too. And furthermore, I forgot to mention that it's not illegal to mistreat animals on the farm. It's like illegal to mistreat pets. You can get in some trouble for mistreating your pet, but you don't get any trouble for mistreating a farm animal. It's perfectly legal. So that needs to change. But in the meantime, I think it's more realistic to eat free range versus being vegan. So please check it out. Please check it out. Just try it once. Just Myers. And I'm always end my videos with reminding us that love isn't just what God does, it's who he is. And one of the fruits of love is kindness. So I'm going to end it like that. And I see you all next time.